Hello and welcome to Boots Corner of the Poe-Cast. I'm Benjamin, your host. As I told you last time in the first episode that I didn't have a name for it, I'm not going to say that was a lie, I just wasn't sure if I wanted to name it at the time. But since I got the picture done in time, which you can see right there, let me turn this light off here for you. You can see our lovely little logo I've drawn for myself, and hopefully Christopher and I will get it digitized so it can be our actual logo on our Facebook page and our Twitter page. Yes, we have Twitter now for anyone who doesn't know, and maybe we can update our YouTube picture. But at any rate, this is Boots Corner, and as I explained in the last episode, this is pretty much just me and my hobbies in video form as opposed to Christopher's chapter with Sylvia. So to introduce you to our three characters back there, anyone who hasn't seen our Facebook update, pretty much we have Boot, the on the left, and we have Jip the Fairy, also on the left, and Sylvian the Wizrobe on the right. Pretty much they are just there for aesthetic purposes. If you see all three of them there, you're listening to the Poe-Cast, which is our regular sound podcast channel. If you see Boot there, you're in Boot's Corner, which is what you're watching right now. If you see just Sylvian, that's Christopher's channel. If you see Jip there, that is the video efforts and videoed hobbies of Christopher and myself. In complete video form, you'd be stuff like this, except it's a collaborative thing between Christopher and myself, like the Poe-Cast, except video form. At any rate, on Boots Corner today, I'm going to be painting an Ork Nob. It'll be a speed painting, so there'll be a time lapse, and I'll try to explain what I do as I do it. There'll also be a little bit of construction going on, so I hope you guys enjoy this. Alright, so the first thing you're going to need is to get your sprues, and your sprue sheets usually come in the box, and they offer a wide variety of choices for you to use. And I decided to choose the knob because last time I made I painted a squad of the drop herd, I painted the squad later, so I decided to continue this with the Ork boys as well.
Time for foot slogging, boys!
There are special cutters you can use to cut your pieces out of the sprue sheets, but I just use simple wire cutters because it's cheaper and it's pretty much the same thing. There's really no difference that I have noticed other than price. No quality difference. Like I said, there's a lot to choose from. There's two boss poles, since it's only one knob. I'll probably use that other boss pole for a scratch build or something. Maybe even add it on. Now this is me just taking an X-Acto knife and shaving off the little nubs that the sprue sheets have left from cutting it off with the wire cutter. This will happen even when you use professional stuff too. And then you just glue stuff together. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't usually glue my models together and then paint them. I usually paint them before I even assemble them. But Christopher suggested I try that for my orcs sometime, and I was going to try it with my Luda Boy earlier, but then since I'd already assembled him and kind of painted him, I decided that for this speed paint I would completely start another one completely. I would start another one completely from scratch to show you guys. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just holding up the arm and trying to figure out what pose I want before I glue it on, because there are specific muscle tones on the figures before you, so when you glue them on, you want to make sure that the muscle tones are matched up. Yes, I said there's a lot of customization. You can still do it regardless, it just bugs me. It is a way so you can do it in multiple poses, but sometimes they're just very specific, and you have to keep an eye out for that. You don't really want your figures looking awkward when you stand there and paint it. Now, the nice thing that I found about assembling them before I paint them is that using those little cracks where the pieces are stuck on disappear when the glue seeps through, because it oozes out, it kind of fills in the cracks, and then you can just go in and paint that over instead of having the little clear glossiness on the figure when it's made. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the base coat, but first you need some water from your special wog cup of water that I, blue solo cup, just decided I got bored and I wanted something fancy that didn't cost me $80. So base coat is really simple. You just literally slap on one simple thin layer across the entire thing, and then the next layer is of course the closest thing to the skin, which is skin. So I color their skin green, orc green, in this case dark angel green. I don't know what the new updated color is, but yeah, that's not really important. I'll find that out later when I actually run out of it, which I'm getting close to right now. So after you colored all the skin that you need to cover, you're going to cover the next thing on the skin, which is usually the undershirt, and I chose gray, because that's that's in my color palette. But the reason I chose gray in the original color palette design was I was going to have black with blue tiger stripes, but then the blue just didn't really show up on the black pants, so I needed something that would make it pop so that you would know they were there. I didn't have to use a different lighter blue, because I wanted to use the dark blue. So I used Codex Gray. Once again, a completely different color name now, no idea what it's called. I didn't put the head on yet because I wanted to color his neck and chest, and it's really hard to get in there and color the neck and chest once the head is placed, especially on orcs, because 90% of the time they're going to have their mouth open screaming a giant wad of war cry. I had a little trouble with this paint because it's so old, it was really thick and gloppy. It would either cut, but whenever I tried to water it down, sometimes it would come out too thin, and right about now is when it started coming out just the way I wanted it. I should really invest in new paint, but I'm a penny pincher, cheapskate, so I'm just going to try to make this work. I'll probably add some water into it later and stir it up and let it sit overnight, or I might just have to go find some relatively cheap hobby paint thinners.
The shadow of death is the one I cast. I am a soldier and I'm marching on. I am a warrior and this is my song. My eyes are steel and my gaze is long. I am a warrior and this is my song.
We're not just going to shoot the bastard.
Alright, now this is a color I definitely need to restock up on. I'm painting his straps and belts right now, and I actually had to chisel out the dried paint and dip it in the water and put it on a makeshift palette. But luckily it came back out and I could still squeeze it for everything it's worth. Makes me very, very happy camper/painter. But the belts are always fun because there's such a small detail. You have to use the really tiny detail brush, except on the boots. If you're even going to have your boots that color, you don't necessarily have to always have your boots brown. That's the nice thing about this hobby is you can have anything, literally any color you want. I have seen pink orcs before. Yes, pink orcs. The leader of the group named Pinky. The irony. But it was fun. And now I'm going in there, and that's the other thing. With all the decals that they do, they leave it very opportunable. Like, this is actually technically a leather corset that my orc is wearing, but I decided that if I painted it silver, it would look more like armor. And now I'm painting his gun with a Ironbreaker Silver, which is actually one of the modern colors that I have upgraded to. And, well, mainly because I didn't have any metal colors, and it's kind of hard to be in a diesel punk universe where everything is metal without anything with any metallic colors other than gold, which I actually use for bronze. I just keep painting it over and over and over until it gets really, really thin and it looks like hammered bronze or brass. Either way, I'm really happy about how the brass has been coming out on my figures lately. And I just go in and add some decals so that you can see the different parts of the gun, like such as the hammer and the bolt action bit. Now I'm going in and just coloring up the claw, make it nice and metal, adding some doing some dry brushing to add some scratches across the black paint, which is supposedly painted on the power claw.
Here we go.
And there's the blue stripes being slowly added on here and there. I really, really do love that blue. I usually use the Regal blue. The enchanted blue I only use on the black whenever I really want it to stay. Now for painting the watch banner, or actually not the watch banner, the boss pole. Boss poles are really effective use in combat. Knobs have them, and it pretty much gives you a free check to get your orcs to do what you want. Oh, the eyes. Painting orc eyes. I've been really excited about how I've been getting pretty good at this. And I was really surprised that with this guy, I actually got it in one try, as you see. Now somehow with editing the video, I got it a little out of place. So here's me painting the teeth of the orc, which I've also been having a lot of fun with painting.
on the orcs. I really crummy at it at first, but I've slowly gotten better, and I'm really, really excited at how they've been turning out. I really should get more brown paint so that I can make them even more nasty. But what I was saying about the log banner, about how it essentially gives you one free move to make your orcs do what you want. Pretty much what I imagine is when the orcs ignore their knob, the knob just takes the boss pole and hits them over the head, which is pretty much what happens because one of your orcs gets wounded by the knob to essentially make them do what you were wanting them to do. Now this is me just attaching the head and the boss pole back on and slapping him onto a base, which he fell off of. And I had to stick him back on and actually prop him up somewhere with it too. Now this is me just adding a little bit more weathering on the blue jaw, which I decided to give him. I tried to make it go upside down so it could be like the upper bite for the tiger fangs, but it just didn't look right, and I decided to leave it right here. And this is just me adding a bit of weathering, some washes to make him look dirty and oily, and some blood, just easy, short stuff, which is really simple.
So yeah, that was the painting. Kudos to anybody who's still here watching it at the end of the video. I'm sorry it took so long, but in real time that was about 40 minutes to an hour, so he took a little while, but here he is, Ork Nob Bob, as I'm going to call him, all done and painted in his prime. A little rushed, but I tried to do that so I could try to keep your attention and show you how I do what I do without boring you too much. But I added a couple details after I signed off with the video, but that's no big deal. I'll post pictures and they'll be uploaded to our Facebook so you guys can see it when I upload it with the video. So yeah, that was the Poe-Cast. Give us a like on our video or subscribe. Check out our Twitter page at the Poe-Cast, at the Poe-Cast, _Poe-Cast. Also check out our Facebook page, the Poe-Cast, hyphen between Poe and Cast. And send us an email if you guys have any suggestions on videos that Christopher or I should do, or anything we should talk about in the upcoming Poe-Cast podcasts. Our email is thepocast2119@gmail.com. Anyway, I'm Benjamin, and this is Boots Corner of the Poe-Cast, signing off.